For the past 2 years, Jocko Fuel has been the only supplement I've consumed. It's helped me stay in shape now that my competitive career is finished. If you've been waiting to try Jocko, the wait is over. Jocko has now teamed with Walmart, bringing clean fuel to the entire nation. Jocko Fuel is loaded with all the good stuff and none of the bad. And I'm talking no added sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and absolutely no gray area or banned substances. Just pure, clean fuel to power your performances. Jocko Fuel is now available in Walmart nationwide. Products available at your local Walmart are Jocko Malt, ready to drink, Jocko Malt Powder, and Jocko Pre-Workout. How convenient. Guys, the time is now. Consider trying some of my favorites like Jocko Go and Jocko Hydrate. You can even do it online. Use code CHAEL30 at JockoFuel.com or just stop by your local Walmart and get your hands on some Jocko ASAP. Don't wait, might not last. Fuel up with Jocko Fuel and crush your goals. Now there's no excuse for not having clean fuel. Guys, I want you to go get Jocko Fuel today at Walmart. What about Cowboy coming back? What'd you guys think of that? I imagine you thought that was great news, right? Everybody's favorite fighter. Did it surprise you, though, that an opportunity like that would present itself? And I know so much about Cowboy's career right off the top of my head. You want to know something I don't know? I don't know if he did more fights at 55 or 70. But I think he did more fights at 55. If I was to guess, he spent so many years there. WEC comes to mind. And I bring that up because when Cowboy's coming back, they asked him about what weight class. To which I think everybody that was listening to the interview assumed it would be between 55 and 70, and he said 185. And that made it fun. That made it fun for me. I like that, and I like parody, but who do you fight? And it's a very different story. Cowboy's coming back for 2 more fights. And there's a number that he wants in the UFC. I believe he's at 48, and he wants 50. And so that is the crux of this storyline. All right. 50 seems interesting. There's a reason to do that. I don't know if it's been done before. Those numbers do matter. Right? Even if it's just to you. But I know, 30-0 was Khabib's big number. And even if he didn't get there, he did have that in mind. He didn't talk about win a championship. He didn't talk about win 2. He didn't talk about win 1, defend it 3 times. He just talked about getting to 30-0. So there's just some pieces of this I'm not sure Donald's aware of. And I don't have to be sure. But there's some pieces I don't know that he's aware of. I would imagine when you talk about coming back, you're talking about coming back to what you left. Talking about coming back to where you left. When Conor went and fought with Cowboy, they did it on pretty short notice. They were rushing these guys in. The holidays were coming. They made the fight 170, but they were both ranked athletes at 155. So the way we were to look at it, right, this is the way it was presented us to the audience. Just imagine it's 2 55-pounders, but we're just doing it at 70. And this was in relation to what are we supposed to do with the rankings? These guys are both ranked, they're top guys. Like, what are we supposed to do with the rankings at 55 when they're not fighting at 55? And we were told to imagine that they were. Okay. So, if Donald's going to come back at 85, are we looking for guys that did time at 55 and 70 that can go up to 85? I mean, are we looking right at, boom, Gilbert Burns? Are we looking for somebody to go up to 85, but they don't necessarily have to be an 85-pounder? And there's not a story that's been done successfully quite like the one Cowboy is laying out. But if anybody could go do it, it's likely Cowboy. And the story is to come back into a situation that you left at a weight class that you've never been in. After re-entering a testing pool, not the same testing pool, but a testing pool. And when you get that whole thing pictured, We got everything pictured and everything is going just the way that you saw it. Did you see yourself walking out second or third fight of the night? When you're returning to what you remembered for two more times, are you understanding that your fight is at 3:15 in the afternoon in front of your mom and dad and his mom and dad? And I think that is where things get interesting. There just hasn't been a situation. Dominic Cruz, one of the best fighters ever, and he can tie himself back to the success of the WEC days. That's exactly why I bring him up, who's been nothing but consistent, has had to fight on undercards. Aljo Sterling, who is in the hunt for one of the guys to be the best guy in the world, and might surprise you all and go back down to 135 when Merab's time is done, just for example, is fighting at 3:30 in the afternoon in front of fellow fighters' parents. I just don't know if that was part of the plan. And when that part gets revealed, do we still have a deal? Is that something that you still want to do? And I don't know if Cowboy has that answer right now. I don't know that he owes us an answer to that because I don't believe it's been presented to him in this fashion. But what is the answer? If the answer truly is about getting two more fights and taking you to the number 50, it would have absolutely nothing to do with it. Could do it at the Apex, you could do it at MSG. Wouldn't make any bit of difference. But when you talk about coming back, when the athlete gets confronted with the idea that he's going to come back to something that he was never at in the first place, you're not coming back to a main card. You're going to hear about a press conference going on and assume you're supposed to go, and your handler's going to have to go, hey, that's not on your schedule. What do you mean it's not on my schedule? There's a press conference. Yeah, but you're not part of it. I mean, when that happens, what does it look like? Because again, if the two more fights are the goal, and that's the only thing that was the goal, it wouldn't matter. And I like the idea that Cowboy is coming back a lot. Or at least I like the idea of getting to see Cowboy do something he wants to do. I go in the category of a very big Cowboy supporter. I wanted to see him ride that damn bull. I want to see him box Conor and BKFC. Like, if there's ever an idea that Cowboy has for himself, I'm behind it. But we have largely been told as an audience that those kinds of fights and those kinds of comeback fights just aren't going to happen. And we are revealed as an audience. George Masvidal versus Nate Diaz, which they went on to box and was sold out and got a lot of attention. It was a very good night of business. It would have been times 10 if that had been in the UFC, particularly parked at UFC 300, but the UFC did not have an appetite for it. They were not looking for older guys. They were not looking for two stars to go fight each other. They were looking for two stars that still have the potential to reach championship glory to fight each other. So, where do we start here? Where do we start? And, goldfish can't eat a shark. No matter how big and impossible it seems, a goldfish can eat a shark. He's just got to take a whole bunch of little bites. I think we've got a couple of little bites. Some conversation somewhere got him put into the testing pool. And that's a good sign. To be in the testing pool, you have to have an active contract. It's a great sign. Are they aware that the plan is to do this at a weight class that you've never done it and never held a ranking? Maybe. So eventually we'll come up with a date. Once you come up with a date or kind of a target date, you start looking for opponents and all the pieces start to fall into place. But the idea of coming back isn't completely accurate. This will be coming to a place that Cowboy's never been before. And there's just not going to be a major push behind a guy in a weight class that's got no parity, no apparent meaning, and no championship aspirations. To be a champion, whether that's going to work out or not, I mean, you need timing, and you need some good graces, and you need the wins behind you and the ranking. You got to have the mandate of the masses to be given the opportunity to go and fight for a championship. So of the 737 guys under contract, almost all of them fit into that category. And you might at home go, oh, he's never going to do it. Yeah, maybe not, but he hasn't proven that yet. He has not yet proven and demonstrated that he is not going to do that. But when a guy says, I'm not going to do that, I can't do that. I won't be here long enough to even try that. Well, that's not exactly returning. There was never a day that Cowboy fought where he wouldn't think about being world champion. There was never a fight that Cowboy took that didn't have enough attention on it to get a little bit of wind at your back so that it go your way and push you towards a championship. So it's not really a return. It's something different. It's something special. How excited should we be? If Cowboy has been given permission to do it, and we know that Nick Diaz has something floating around the ether, and we're told by George Masvidal that he's going to do it, I would think we'd be pretty safe at some point thinking we could get Nate added to that. It might be a different era. 2025 might be an ushering in of little something that would have been used to be seen. And I'm for it, and I hope that we do it. But the idea that it's going to be a return, I think that is the phrase of the entire puzzle that would be the hardest to reconcile.